Hello everyone. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, then subscribe to this channel, like and share. Trailblazer of figuring and cryptography, Alan Turing, brought into the world on June 23, 1912, in Maida Vale, London, is generally viewed as perhaps of the most compelling figure throughout the entire existence of software engineering and man-made brainpower. His weighty work during the Second Great War and his hypothetical commitments to registering have procured him an enduring heritage as a trailblazer in the two fields. Regardless of confronting huge individual difficulties, including abuse for his sexuality, Turing's commitments to science and innovation keep on molding our reality. Early life and schooling. Alan Matheson Turing was the second of two kids brought into the world to Julius and Ethel Turing. His initial training occurred at Sherborne School, where he showed a distinct fascination with math and science. Turing's ability there was obvious since early on, and he succeeded in his examinations, especially in math. In 1931, Turing entered Lord's School, College of Cambridge, where he concentrated on science. His creative reasoning was before long perceived, and in 1935, he was chosen an individual of Lord's School. Very early in life of 22, because of his noteworthy work on the hypothesis of probabilities and the idea of processability. Turing's initial work laid the foundation for his future commitments to arithmetic and software engineering. Machine and processability. One of Turing's most critical commitments came in 1936 with his distribution on processable numbers, with an application to the Enchanted Gaze problem. In this earth-shattering paper, Turing presented the idea of the Turing machine, a hypothetical developed that can recreate the rationale of any PC calculation. The Turing machine turned into a crucial model in software engineering, assisting with characterizing the restrictions of what can be figured and framing the reason for present-day registering hypothesis. Turing's work tended to the Enchanted Gaze problem, choice issue, presented by David Hilbert, which looked for an overall calculation to decide reality or misrepresentation of any numerical assertion. Turing demonstrated that no such calculation exists, laying out the constraints of formal frameworks and impacting the improvement of hypothetical software engineering. The Second Great War and cryptography. During the Second Great War, Turing's abilities were diverted from hypothetical arithmetic to down-to-earth applications in cryptography. In 1939, he joined the Public Authority Code and Code School at Bletchley Park, a highly confidential English office entrusted with unraveling encoded faux correspondences. One of Turing's significant accomplishments at Bletchley Park was breaking the German puzzler code, an exceptionally perplexing code utilized by the German military to get their interchanges. The puzzler machine utilized a progression of pivoting circles to encode messages, making countless potential mixes. Turing and his partners, including mathematician Gordon Welchman, fostered an electromechanical gadget called the bomb that could methodically look for the mystery machine settings, essentially accelerating the unscrambling system. Turing's commitments were vital in unraveling riddle-encoded messages, furnishing the partners with basic knowledge that assumed a huge part in the progress of military tasks and the possible triumph in the conflict. It is assessed that Turing's work abbreviated the conflict by around 2 years and saved endless lives. Post-war commitments. After the conflict, Turing kept on making huge commitments to the field of processing. He dealt with the plan and development of quite possibly of the earliest electronic PC, the programmed registering motor, expert, at the Public Actual Research Facility. However, the PRO was not completely functional during Turing's time. His plan and thoughts affected the advancement of future PCs. In 1950, Turing distributed one more fundamental paper, Registering Hardware and Knowledge, in which he proposed the idea of the Turing test. This test was intended to assess a machine's capacity to show savvy conduct identical to, or undefined from, that of a human. The Turing test has turned into a basic idea in the field of man-made reasoning and stays a critical perspective in conversations about machine knowledge and cognizance. Turing's work in the post-war period likewise reached out to numerical science. He fostered a hypothesis of morphogenesis, which makes sense of how examples and design structure in natural living beings. His work in this space established the groundwork for the investigation of example arrangement and lastingly affects formative science. Mistreatment and awful passing. Notwithstanding his amazing accomplishments, Turing's own life was set apart by misfortune. In 1952, Turing was arraigned for his homosexuality, which was viewed as a criminal offense in the UK at that point. He was indicted and given the decision between detainment or compound emasculation. He picked the last option, going through chemical treatment that made extreme side impacts. Turing's conviction additionally prompted the deficiency of his trusted status, which actually finished his commitments to the field of figuring and cryptography. The mistreatment and the medicines he got through significantly affected his psychological and actual prosperity. On June 7, 1954, Alan Turing was tracked down dead at his home in Wilmslow, Cheshire. The authority reason for death was self-destruction by cyanide harming. Turing's demise at 41 years old was a disastrous misfortune to mainstream researchers and the world. Soon after his demise, Turing's work earned respect, and he has since been commended as a spearheading figure in registering and man-made consciousness. Heritage and acknowledgement. Alan Turing's heritage has developed essentially throughout the long term. In 1966, the Turing Grant was laid out by the Relationship for Figuring Hardware, ACM, to perceive exceptional commitments to the field of registering, frequently viewed as the Nobel Prize of Processing. The honor was named to pay tribute to Turing's significant effect on software engineering. In 2009, English state leader Gordon Brown released a conventional conciliatory sentiment for how Turing was dealt with, recognizing the foul play and communicating lament for the enduring he persevered. The expression of remorse was essential for a more extensive acknowledgement of Turing's commitments and the treacheries looked by LGBTQ people before. Turing's life and work have been the subject of various books, narratives, and movies. The 2014 film The Impersonation Game, featuring Benedict Cumberbatch as Turing, carried his story to a more extensive crowd and featured his commitments to figuring and cryptography, as well as the shocking parts of his own life. Alan Turing's commitments to math, processing, and cryptography have made a permanent imprint on the cutting-edge world. His spearheading work established the groundwork for the advancement of software engineering and man-made consciousness, and his accomplishments during the Second Great War were instrumental in getting associated triumph. Turing's inheritance is a demonstration of the force of scholarly interest and steadiness. Regardless of confronting individual and cultural difficulties, his work has proceeded to rouse and impact ages of researchers, architects, and masterminds. As we explore an inexorably intricate innovative scene, Turing's visionary thoughts and historic exploration stay as pertinent and effective as anyone might think possible. Thank you for watching.